It's no exaggeration to say that 50% of the experience of watching a movie in the theater is the immersive surround sound environment. Now that the word theater doesn't exclusively mean salty popcorn, sticky floors, and $10, but also includes a refrigerator, a pause button, and a bathroom break if necessary, surround sound is a very real option for anyone who's authoring DVDs. In this segment, we're going to explore surround sound and how you can take advantage of it in your productions. As with many of the topics we discuss here, I think that you'll find that the technology is pretty easy to understand and use. The hard part is the artistry of the mix. This is TechKnow. The history of surround sound in the home entertainment system would certainly start with monophonic recordings on wires, wax cylinders, and discs in the latter part of the 19th century. Almost 60 years elapsed before stereo recordings became commercially available in the late 1950s. Then, sometime in the early 1970s, quadraphonic systems of various sorts became available. Of course, the center of the modern home theater is the ubiquitous and inexpensive DVD player. Since DVD video players have something like 85 to 90% market penetration, this makes DVD the obvious medium of distribution for most video producers. In a typical home theater situation, we have our DVD player hooked up to a 5.1 amplifier. The connection will be either through 6 discrete analog wires or a single digital connection. In a 5.1 surround sound system, we've got 6 speakers or channels: a left front, a right front, a left rear, a right rear, a center channel, and a subwoofer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, or 5.1. Movies and music mixes are a little different from each other, but by convention, the center channel is for on-screen dialogue and vocals, with some of the mix spilling over into the front stereo pair. The rear speakers are most properly positioned at ear height and to the sides and not at the back of the room. The subwoofer is for low frequency effects, or LFE, and since audio in that range is very non-directional, it can be located just about anywhere in the room. So to listen to 5.1 surround sound content, we need a playback system to decode the signal and proper speakers set up. Here's what you need to get started mixing and producing 5.1 surround sound DVDs. First, you need a computer with a 5.1 sound card. Fortunately, most computers come with this by default nowadays. Second, this computer needs to be connected to a 5.1 sound system. If you were mixing in Hollywood, you'd be mixing in a studio on reference monitors. But in smaller studios, this could be a home theater or high-end computer speaker system. The third thing you will need is editing software that has some type of 5.1 surround sound panner. Creating a 5.1 surround mix is technically very easy. This, for example, is the one that comes with Sony's Vegas video editing software, which was the first widely available software on the market with the surround mixer. Let's say this track on my timeline here is my dialogue track. With the surround panner, I would plant my dialogue track squarely in the center channel and in the front stereo pair to give the voice a little bit of positional space. If we had 2 actors on the screen chatting amicably, they could easily share the same surround mix positioning. If they were on opposite sides of a very large room, you might want a discrete audio track for each, panned slightly to the left and to the right. The music bed would mostly go to the stereo pair and a little bit to the rear perhaps. But what else could we put into the rear channels? This brings us to our first serious problem, and it isn't a technical one. Yes, 5.1 is really cool and easy, but what exactly would you use it for in your productions? For most of us, helicopter flybys and bullet ricochets are not a big part of our everyday work. 5.1 mixing is not the same as 5.1 encoding. So while 5.1 mixing is widely available in video editing applications, software vendors don't always tell you that you need to pay extra for an AC3 5.1 encoder as well. The words to watch out for are 5.1 surround sound support for applications that can mix but not encode. Fortunately, a 5.1 encoder is not as expensive as it used to be, but it still isn't free. If you're shopping for surround sound software, make sure the AC3 5.1 encoder is included, and not just the stereo version of that encoder. The encoding can happen either when you output your finished movie from your video software, or it can happen in your DVD authoring package. In the latter case, you would output a 6-channel mix from your editing software for encoding in the authoring app. As with so many of the topics we cover here on TechKnow, it turns out that the technology is the easy part. The real catch is that 5.1 surround mixing isn't just 3 times as hard as stereo mixing. It's easily a magnitude more difficult. You also need to keep in mind that your mix still needs to sound good when down mixed in stereo, and maybe even mono as well. With the widely available standard audio hardware and speakers, software mixers and surround encoders, configuring your video editing system for surround sound is not really all that hard. And it should be noted, it's extremely fun. If you have any questions about this topic or any others, drop the tech team an email or give us a call. We'd be happy to help you out with this or any other technical questions that you might have. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on TechKnow.